All right, welcome everybody. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. It's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, coming to you from the great state of Texas, and we are on 4/19/21. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, just so you guys know, monkeys, when I'm done with this, if you want to stay in the chat, I'll stop the recording and then I'll stay in with the chat so we can button up any loose questions and things like that for a little bit. So. Just one of those things I do for my Patreon followers. It's much appreciated for your support, and so anyway, just hang on afterwards. What I'll do is I'll do a send off, stop the recording, and then just chill out with you guys for a little bit. So, all right. So hey, listen, happy Monday. It looks like we're pretty busy today. I do have persistence on, and I was chatting with you guys a minute ago in the live chat here, and notice we do have some of the presidential fleet stuff up this morning, and so you guys can see my screen as I kind of delve in. You'll notice there are a lot of helicopters up too, so we're going to take a look at that here in just a second. But just so you guys know, there is so I did see, where did he go? We have the presidential birds are definitely up right now, a lot of them. This one right here, this exec one, F, that is a first lady, and it looks like she's bugging out of DC, so that means Flashbang does not have any adult supervision today, and so we should all just be a little concerned there. But we've got another one down here that's going to be this is the Terra bird. You guys not familiar with that? It's an all-white Air Force bird that is used for quick response teams, so like international incidents or crisis, things like that. It doesn't look like there's anybody on there. Matter of fact, it looks like he's just doing touch and goes. You know, just getting some stick time in there. But now I did see the 747 up a minute ago. Just remember that if POTUS isn't butt in the seat, it's not going to be. Here it is right here. You guys can see. It will not be Air Force One. Okay, so he is required to be on it in order for it to be called Air Force One. But it still shows the old NAs, as you can see. But it looks like he's just doing some flying around, staying out of the weather. And those jagged lines, it's just because it's real hard to fix on his position. Okay, and so the signal, he's using the MLAT signal, and it's just you know, kind of jamming up the ability for OpenADSB to get a clear line on his flight. So he's not flying that jagged by any means. Okay, so all right, looks like we got a little bit of weather rolling into that general area, and somebody said we had a nuclear sub breach this morning off the coast of Florida. Pretty cool. I've seen that in the past, and I actually at one point, when I was out in Kwajalein, I was surfing in Kwaj and had one pass within probably 100 yards from me, and I didn't even know he was there. And I remember looking out in the lagoon and seeing this nuclear sub sitting up, and then all these barges coming on. So it was just doing a resupply, but they don't surface very long. He was in and out within an hour, and probably didn't surface for quite a while, or resurface for quite a while. But all right, so let's take a quick look. I'm going to pop in the H60s real fast as a filter. You guys can see. Last I checked, we were sitting, where are we sitting right now? 34 up. We've got a little bit of congestion right here that's going to skew your number. All right. Normally we get the EC45s, but it looks like up here in the Northeast, we got quite a bit of helo activity going on, as well as out here in the Phoenix area. So, and these are all H60s, so these are Blackhawks. Okay. All right, now those could be anything from military to Homeland Security, could be any of those things. So we'll also take another look here at the other helo activity, just so you guys can kind of button that up to get a general feel. But these are, we'll kind of look at that one now. Let me bump over here to the Eurofighters, and or not Eurofighters. I'm sorry, Eurocopters. Big difference. Yeah. So. But if we look at the Eurocopters that are up right now, these are going to be mainly, they're going to be government owned for the most part. There are some civilian ones probably in here somewhere, but for the most part, these are going to be things like Homeland Security, U.S. Border Patrol, and Customs. It'll be Highway Patrol, things like that. And so You can see down here on the Texas border, we seem to have some pretty active going on. So if I bump into that one, that's going to be, let me see who this 702 TX. Let's see if it belongs to anybody. Yeah, there we go. US DOT. So that's Highway Patrol, right? So it looks like they're just took off and they're doing some stuff here. This is going to be your border. All right. So, all right, back over to the Eurocopters. Now, Southern California is always skewed. It doesn't matter. This down here in on the border in Texas is another Highway Patrol. Okay. But when we start looking at California in terms of what is up, this is always kind of, you got fires and stuff in here and things like that. So, but that's your current helo up, and California is always heavy with helos. I don't know why. A lot of crime out there, especially in Southern Cal. There's a lot of stuff going on where a lot of times you go popping into that in the wee hours of the morning, and you can see them going over neighborhoods and. I can only imagine being on the ground down there. There's always car chases and stuff like that. So there's your DC area. You can see kind of, let me kind of CP and CP. So let's see who the CP belongs to. And come on now. Baltimore County. So that's another government bird. And you can see this one's just doing some circling here in between weather. So definitely his altitude's certainly deviating, so I'm not really sure what he's got going on, but certainly looking for something there. All right. Okay, so let's get over to real fast the TFRs, because I think that'll help explain some of, let me clear and reset this filter. And I think that'll help kind of explain why Air Force 2 may be down where it was located. I think some of you guys said you spotted that earlier this morning too. And I'm not seeing it on my call sign stuff yet. Probably already on ground. So, but let's get over here to our current TFRs. So this is going to be My Radar. That's the app that I use. And I basically go in and plug in the information for, it's the aviation weather and things like that, but that gives them all of these different little icons like IFRs and icing and turbulence, these green ones here, and then these boxes will be, you know, winds or things of that nature. And but these little yellow and red things that you see popping on here are going to be your TFR boxes. Okay, and so we've got still an active military operation going on here in Gulfport area. We've got, looks like they're still doing a search and rescue effort here down off of the coast of Louisiana, south of Baton Rouge. And if we get in, we got a couple new ones here, and I'm just going to kind of pop in to see that. That's probably a hazards if I had to guess, if it'll give it to me. Yeah, it's a hazards, natural gas release. So the pipeline from time to time goes in and actually does some natural gas releases. So that's why they do that. So, and that's going to be the same here in this general area. Now, over here in Statesboro, let me see. We got an air show in Savannah. So I say Statesboro, east of Statesboro. Statesboro's here. Savannah, so it's kind of northeast of Savannah. We look to have an air show currently on the map, but this is the area I think we were looking at. This may be where you have, if it says VIP, that's going to be, yeah, that's probably going to be Bob Marley. Okay, and it looks like it's for today. And so it looks like Bob Marley is in that general area. This is, look, the red circle is probably where they're actually going to be, which will be VIP security. And but these are the locations. So that's why you're seeing Air Force 2 this morning. So it looks like Bob Marley is already on the move this morning. And then, of course, we still have our standing over the Senior Living Center here in the Brown Zone. That's ongoing. And let me get over here real fast. Now, these in the past have been, let me just see what these are. But if it'll pull it up. All right, come on now. Yeah, it doesn't want to do it. I guess I got to zoom in closer. All right. These have been around for a little while, so let's just double check and see what we've got here. Hazards. And so looks like another natural gas release. Same thing. I probably imagine both of those are. So, and I think that's probably going to be more of the same right here. Yeah, hazards, natural gas. Okay. All right, so that's where we are with the TFR. So it looks like the only one that really has some active VIP TFR stuff is going to be right here in the North Carolina, Greensboro area, okay? And so these along the border, these are kind of standing, they're always there. This one down here in the corner of the border, as you guys can see, that's an ongoing fire. So there's a fire down here. And then this is Beale Air Force Base in California. And then, of course, this one off of Florida is space operations. So that one pops on and off all the time, okay? This one right here, let me kind of zoom in. That one is Disney, or Ditney, as some people like to say. And that is, let me get a little closer. That's not giving me this one over here by Lakeland. And so let me just see what that one is. And let me see here. Not seeing emergency. Looks like there's some type of an emergency scene off of Tampa, at least responding through Tampa. So I don't know what that is, but a little small one. Doesn't look like it's a big deal. But all right, there's our TFRs for today. Let me minimize this and we'll get back over here. So let's talk a little bit about flashbang schedule for this morning. For those that are not familiar with my terms, flashbang and Bob Marley, I am having to use alternate call signs or code names to kind of circumnavigate the AI algorithms on YouTube. And so it is who you think it is. Flashbang, if you're familiar with what a flashbang is, flashbang, before someone goes in to breach and do a takedown, they will typically kick a door open, toss in a flashbang, and then that disorients everybody in the room, right? So the things they're loud and you can't see, your ears are ringing, and so it's a disorienting grenade, so to speak. Okay, and so that's the term, and you know who I'm talking about, who is constantly disoriented. Okay, and then Bob Marley, obviously from Jamaica, and likes to hit the spliffs. So that's where those names come from, and that's kind of how I arrived at that. So just so you know, when I'm talking about that, I've had a couple people ask questions, and you're coming in kind of late and not understanding who I'm talking about, but that's who it is. So, all right. So on our screen right now, you're going to see the main purpose of this screen is I'm just trying to show you that we've got ash alerts that are ongoing for volcanic activity. And so if you kind of zoom into some of these areas, this is an active volcano, and it looks to be a little bit of ash, but I'm not seeing anything pretty impressive, actually. Not seeing anything that indicates ash for aviation, although there is an ash alert. Okay, now I did just read something about a volcano up here in Alaska that they are coding as red, like it's about to blow, and it's supposed to be pretty large. So that, if it's an ash producer, kind of like Mount St. Helens, remember the jet stream, how it kind of flows, so that could actually impact probably, I don't know if it'll get Canada, but depending on where the airstream goes, that could impact quite a few things. So this little red dot right here on my map, that's going to be one of your Google balloons. If you're not familiar with those, just go search Google balloons and you'll find out about it. So, but it's owned by Google, and they basically or supposedly provide internet for remote locations. And so that's not very remote. I could see it out here in Montana maybe. But I also am suspect that it does some type of surveillance. Okay, it's up at 60,000 feet, and it hangs, moves very slowly. And anyway, all right. So these are the other active volcanoes. You can see the boxes. That's your ash direction. Okay. Last week we had this ash that was actually had a box that went all the way across the Atlantic over here to the coast of Africa. All right, and so right now it looks like that thing's chilled out a little bit. We do have a little more ash over here. That just may be a plume because I don't see that tied to any kind of volcano. But these are all tied to St. Vincent. Okay, and then if we get over here into Guatemala, that's got a little bit of an ash right here, Fuego. That one's been spewing. And this one also in Mexico looks to be, you can see the little ash alerts here kind of bugging out. So it does impact aviation. That's the reason I show it. As you guys know, from a biblical perspective, I also follow these volcanoes pretty closely. So I don't do the earthquakes because that is in Dutch Sense's swim lane. And so if you don't know who he is or don't follow him, highly recommend it. The guy is he's amazing, and the dude, anything earthquake related, just go to him. Okay, and he does talk a little bit about volcanoes from time to time. But anyway, and it looks like we got a little bit of ash coming out of this one headed northbound. So generally, the aviation just stays clear of this. All right, they try not to get into it because the particles that come out of volcanic ash are like little beads of sand. So imagine ingesting sand into an engine. It will certainly start hosing some things up. So, all right. So let me back out of this. We're going to get over to Flashbang's schedule for today. As you can see, again, dude is just, he is a crack of dawn kind of guy. And so kicking off the morning here at 9:50 a.m. With his daily brief, and 10:30 does an in-town pool call. So I don't know what that is. He must be going from one spot to another. And of course, the COVID stuff is just so important. And then looks like I've got a press briefing, and then at 1:15 looks like that is the last of his calendar for the day, where he meets with the members of Congress. And so again, just these 6-hour days are just tough. So all right, don't have anything on Bob Marley's schedule. Looks to be, though, North Carolina related. So all right, let's go check out the spa and see what we've got, anything going on over here. Now, typically, as I've said in the past, we don't really, this Gitmo, we don't see that very often. That is your base commander. And so it'll fly by Gitmo 344, 844, 744, 544. I've seen the numbers will change on this end. And but this is, and I'm just going to click on it so I can show you guys if it'll give me any information on it. Probably not. It is a military bird. It's a U.S. Navy bird. Normally don't see them, but he frequents a lot out of here and up to Jacksonville Naval Air Station. Okay, and so that is your base commander. It's a little BE-20, which is a Beech, twin engine turboprop. But you can see just back and forth. This is the general thing. It pops up all the time, and I'll see people actually commenting on, that it's, prisoners or something, and it's not. It's just the base commander, and that is basically his little school bus, right? He and his team use it, and so, and I know that because I had a follower who I talked with a lot when I was on Twitter, who was a former base commander, and basically backfilled me on all of that stuff and let me know exactly what it was I was looking at. Okay, and so that said, this is all the arrivals kind of from the last 2 weeks. This is kind of a 10-day rolling number. You can see the ones that got our attention here are the Phoenix birds. Okay, that's a Phoenix bird. This is a Phoenix bird, and these birds actually vacated. Now they're showing on the arrival board. Originally they did not, and then they populated later. And so this one right here also, this is a national cargo. All of these are charters that are utilized by our DoD and by our agencies. Okay, that's why we track them. And so we'll kick over here to the departure board, see if we've got matches. It looks like everything that came in is also showing on the outbound. What we'll find from time to time is that they will not match. You won't see anything showing them come in. You'll just see them exiting. And so that's why you got to really kind of watch the board. If you use the mobile app, you're going to miss a lot of it, okay? Because mobile app doesn't show any of this stuff for the most part. It'll from time to time pop up, but you'll notice this is our new little watch area, which is the Opelika area, okay? And that is because if you guys know anything about the history of Opelika, go research a little bit of it. But that base location at one point during the Cold War, Building 67 was actually an agency operation. It has since been cleared out, burned to the ground supposedly. But there are some other buildings there that are a little questionable. Amazon runs out of there. and several others. If you go look at, just do Google Maps and go look at Opelika and check it out. But we're kind of watching that because it looks like we've got some, when I see the Phoenix birds go in and out, these birds I follow pretty religiously because they are a pretty good indicator on what's going on with our agency, okay, or agencies. And so, that said, this one here, this Biggs Air Force or Army Airfield out of El Paso, that's going to be a troop rotation, okay? Charleston flights are going to be supply runs. And then these little ones here, this is a National Jets, and that's a little Lear 45. Those are going to be contractors coming out of Fort Lauderdale, and that's a regular thing. So let me go look at en route and see if we've got anything on the board. Nothing. Let me see for scheduled departures. Nothing. Okay. All right. So that's going to be Guantanamo Bay and the current for today. We'll look at that again tomorrow when we do our next official Tuesday sit reps. All right. Over to Xpl Honduras. Now, this one, you have to click on these links if you go over here and look for it, because they typically keep them clean. And so if you click on it, you'll see now all of a sudden all these things appear, okay? Little Bell helicopter. This one right here is a Mexican run. It looks interesting to me because it came out of Port-au-Prince into here. So that's from Mexico. And that is a little Learjet. Now that came in last Wednesday. That one right there is in the same wheelhousing as we see with the Phoenix birds, okay? Same type of aircraft, although they use primarily Gulfstreams, which are really high-end, expensive birds. But this is a little Learjet, and so I'll pop on it just so you guys can see the kind of thing you watch for. All right, and so that's your little Lear. And if you notice, if we zoom in here to the full size, the little Mexico sign on the side right there. So that is that little dude's out of Mexico. All right. Don't know what it's doing in XPL Honduras, but the fact that it came out of Haiti and went to that location, which is also a prison watch location, definitely suspect. Okay. And I got to tell you, I'm thankful that today I only have Fidelity Careers as my pop-up and not, you know, the stuff from like GTA 4 and like, you know, the butt pictures and the everything else. So Google is evidently treating me right today. So I guess their algorithms are on point. All right, let's get over here to Camp Justice, which is Diego Garcia, and that's out in the Indian Ocean. And so doesn't look like we've got anything on the board right now. So that's your arrivals. Let's see if we've got anything scheduled. The Zippo departures, nothing. So that place has been pretty quiet right now. Now, those not familiar with this particular location, it is out here in the middle of nowhere, okay? Little tiny spot used kind of like, I don't know. If you notice, here's the thing. If you notice, all of the prison locations seem to be very remote, right? Terra Sierra, Guantanamo Bay, this location here, you know, Camp Justice, out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of like the Alcatraz model, and so, you know, I'm not really sure. So, anyway, just something to think about. Kwajalein would be a great fit. Like I said, I used to live out there and very familiar with that location. And you are certainly not going to be swimming anywhere off of that island because it's 2,000 miles from there to Hawaii. And so, anyway, and the oceans get crazy. You get a squall coming through, and you'll go from flat 3-foot seas to 20-foot seas, like just instantly. It's pretty wild. So, okay. So these are going to be your Kalita birds, current active, what is up. Looks like this one. So let's get down here and look at the board. Muhammad Ali International. I didn't know we even had that. So that's Louisville, Kentucky. That's going to be a 727-200. And then this one, 737-300, looks like it's headed into the Dominican Republic. And so this one out of Kentucky is headed into Long Island, MacArthur. So it's up in New York. So, all right. Interesting. Okay. We always watch these guys. The Coletta Airlines are, that's if you guys are familiar with Connie Coletta, that's a guy used to be a drag racer, but he's had these airlines for a while and these charters, and they are definitely agency birds. They operate. They're based out of let's see here, Oscoda, Michigan. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, I had a little flashbang moment there. But up in Oscoda, Michigan, it's nothing up there. It used to be an old B-52 base, and it's not activated, and so they have basically taken over the hangars, and they do all kinds of things from engine mods to aircraft overhauls, but that's what they operate out of. There is nothing up there. I mean, it's middle of nowhere. So, okay. All right, over to 331, so we get a little closer look. This is one we followed pretty closely. Last week we were watching it. We've been following this one for years. And so, looks like it came out of Mexico and went to Laredo, Texas. Surprise, surprise. And so it seems to be sitting in Laredo still, but went out of Shreveport, went down to Mexico, from Mexico back to Laredo. All right, and so not sure if they were just picking up people and saving them the walk or what, but I will tell you there is definitely some shenanigans afoot when it comes to all this immigration stuff. Okay, and so we'll just keep an eye on it, but. It's almost like legalized human trafficking. So pretty crazy. All right, this is going to be our Maxwell Bird N312FU. And this looks like it's in White Plains, New York. Now this one, I'm pretty sure that's going to be contractors up here. Fairly confident we got a VP or a CEO of a company that utilizes this as well. And they are currently up there. So and that would be my guess. So we'll be watching for that one to actually bug out of Westchester and head southbound at some point. So, but again, another same kind of framework as the bird we just looked at with the Learjets and the other. These things are very good for landing on short runways, and they use them a lot on the islands, and they also have pretty solid range on them. Now this one's not as far as the Gulfstreams, but a Gulfstream can fly like those little G3s, G4s, G5s, etc. They have a range of like 3,400 miles or something. So on one tank of gas. So they get up there at 41,000, 42,000 feet and just zing, and can go pretty far. So, okay, let's get over here to our live Phoenix operations. It looks like we are no longer live, and we had some originally. I think you guys pointed them out over here in China Lake. And out here, now there is some regular daily flights. They happen a little earlier, and then they come back in the afternoon out here to these little one of these little islands out here, and then over to China Lake. And that is a pretty regular daily occurrence, okay? And it's all they're doing is moving contractors to and from those locations. And so, all right. So there's that. Nothing really to see right now. So, all right. 163 PA landed 23 hours ago. It went from DC back to home base. So it's a RTB, return to base, where it is currently sitting. So we'll watch for this one to bug out again. And when you're looking at this, the green line is actual, little blue dash line is flight plan. So I don't know why it would do this little joggle and then come in instead of just going straight. That's kind of a strange flight path, but that's what was planned, and obviously they deviated from it. So, all right, 173 PA landed 5 days ago. That went from Terceira, one of our watch sites for prison locations, out to Greece. Okay, still sitting in Greece. So it looks to me like these things are pre-positioned. All right, so they get them out there and then they sit. And they're ready to go instead of, I guess it gives their flight crew time to rest. Okay. And so notice the distance, Terceira to their actual 29.05. Remember what I was just saying, these things, they can usually fly about 3,400 miles to a tank. So that thing's coming in, it's almost to the range. I mean, it's a couple, a little bit off, but it's definitely within the range of that bird. All right, so here we go. All right, 198 PA. This is the one. This one actually is a new one. Somebody just pointed that out. I was looking at it in the chat and I jotted it down, so we've now got it on our little tracker. But this is a little unusual for them. It's more along the lines of what we see with the contractor birds over in California going to China Lake and stuff, which are a little puddle jumper, twin engine. You know, that's a low wing, so it's kind of a rough ride versus the high wings, but looks like it's went out of Verona, Italy, over here to Senegal, and so there's your path. That's a pretty long flight for that little bird, it really is. That's actually a really long flight for that little bird, and I don't know that that would be. All right, that's not that. Okay, they do this to us every once in a while, so you have to pay close attention. That's not the bird. So I'm sitting there telling you, talking about this little twin engine turboprop. That ain't it. All right, so get over here, look in our little thing. What is that? It's a G3, so it's a Gulfstream. That would be more in line with the range on that, because I can tell you that little puddle jumper is not going to go 2,700 miles. So you have to kind of watch them. They will from time to time. It's kind of a little running joke. They'll throw pictures of stuff in there. I've seen them put crop dusters in and all kinds of different stuff into here from a picture's perspective. So just to kind of throw people off. But so it looks like got somebody operating from here into the DKR, which is, you know, this area right here is pretty hot for Ebola right now. So I don't know what's going on there, but they constantly fighting outbreaks in that general region across here. So like Sierra Leone and all those other areas. So I'm always suspect when I see something like that going on, especially coming out of Italy. That's kind of an interesting. So another one, we're going to add that to our quiver and track that, okay, going forward. All right, 411DE, that's going to be your sniffer helo. That is coming out of DC. That thing hasn't flown for a couple of days, the 14th of April. So it's been about 5 days since it was last up. Again, as you can see, had a little interest over here on the coastline. And again, if those are not familiar with that aircraft, that is a nuke sniffer, right? And so biological, chemical, nuclear, it's basically taking samples from the air and these different these altitudes you see in the green line. These different altitudes, this thing is basically popping up and taking samples, air quality samples, okay? All right, there is our sniffer, and so it doesn't look like he has been up for about a week. So we looked at our Eurocopters, and we looked at that one. So let me get past that as I go through my tabs. All right, live Atlas air flights. Now, this one, as I said before, we kind of keep an eye on it. This is their general normal swim lane. They kind of go in and out of Asia pretty regularly. The ones we want to watch, and this is their other hub right here in Frankfurt, Germany. But the ones we want to watch are when they start breaching that area and they start coming into this Middle East, and you start getting into Afghanistan and things like that. Now, we saw that happen the other day, and I don't know if they were bringing people home or what they were doing, but definitely pay attention to it. So when you see them start to come out here, we need to be paying close attention, okay? But it looks like right now everything appears to be kind of under the normal range. So we get down here and look. I don't see. What I'm looking for here are El Paso kind of things. Now that one, El Dorado, that's Bogota, Colombia. So if you notice too, you'll see a lot of military bases on here. That's DOD movement stuff, right? So you got here, Biggs Air Force Base. This one, March Air Force Base. So those are ones you gotta kind of watch too, because that means they're moving either equipment, supplies, or people. All right. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about this whole DEF CON thing. All right. I want to show. We went over this the other day, and I had somebody contact me that has a similar site that is tracking this stuff. That also, he said, man, he was a little bit concerned about it because he said it got a lot of people very concerned that this thing had happened and that this guy's not official. And so I will tell you, I have followed this website for probably 10 years. This guy's been around for a while. And I sent him a message and I just asked him, hey, can you clarify, where do you get your DEF CON rating? because what I don't want to do is post something. As you guys know, I'm highly sensitive about sticking stuff out there that is just rubbish, okay? And so he responded back to me pretty quickly, and I just want to share this with you, what he said. Now, I will say, as you guys can see on the screen, this is where he got his information from to determine that. This, what I found out, because there's a lot of people that actually follow this, okay? This is like, if you're familiar with the doomsday clock, it is basically a panel of scientists that get together and they all determine the doomsday level, okay? And it's like 1 minute to midnight or something along those lines, all right? And so in a similar fashion, I don't know that he uses a panel of people, but I think he does it on his own. Like I said, he's been doing it for a long time. He's not kind of a hip shot guy, doesn't appear to be, but I will tell you, this is not coming from some U.S. Command Central kind of thing, okay? This is going to be, you know, he noticed he put some stuff up here. He gave me some references to where he got his information, but he said the DEFCON level isn't released to the public. But what it's based on is the European command is raised to the highest alert possible, and Biden declared a state of emergency due to Russia. So based on that, he has elevated it to 3, okay? Now, he does talk about that he's currently doing some coding, combatant command pages that will make it more straightforward. The DEFCON system is a bit outdated these days, and the military now has an alerts system for each combatant command, okay? And so just kind of take this as a data point. I don't, like I said, I don't want people to go into panic mode because we're at DEFCON 3. This is, you know, he's basing it, gives you kind of a little bit of, you know, an idea of where he's getting his information from and why he is throwing that up there. I haven't seen him post anything that really was like, what, crazy, off the chain. Believe me, there's a lot out there. And so it looks like he has a solid rationale behind why he went to that level, and it makes sense. And so, again, unofficial. This isn't coming from the U.S. government or anything like that. This is somebody that's independently monitoring the situations around the world and tweaks that based on that, okay? But it looks like he's getting ready to start changing the algorithms behind that. So, okay. So that said, also, I do want to show you guys, this is the docket for Guantanamo Bay. As you notice, it is blank. There is some information out there right now that's being posted. It's being circulated. Both Bear and I actually dug into some of the data points. Now, I will tell you, and it's all talking about, you know, HRC trial, and gives you all these data points. It's all bogus, okay? I don't care who's posting it. I'm telling you, it's bogus. Like, you pull the thread on it. Bear pulled the thread on the actual base commander for the Navy, who's supposedly doing all of the trial, hands-on in the trial, which is not, it's just not accurate. It looked like somebody just did a Google search and pulled a name and stuck it in there, okay? And because it's like a base commander level guy, not an attorney, not, you know, the guy that's in charge of doing all this stuff. It's not a legal or a JAG or anything like that. So it's just a bunch of, like I said, nonsense. And it's the same folks that I went back and pulled the thread on the whole HRC arrest, and I was able to discredit it pretty quickly in terms of, you know, all the data points that they provided relative to aircraft and travel times and speeds and things like that. And so it looks to me like it's an unemployed writer from probably, you know, out in Los Angeles that is just trying to, it's really like satire, honestly. But if you follow those things, just keep that in mind. If do a little bit of research, and if you can start shooting holes in it, just know if you find one fault in it, there's probably a dozen faults in it, okay? So, okay. That said, this is court is currently in recess based on Guantanamo Bay stuff. Now, everything's been canceled. If you go back previous months, it's again has all been canceled. There's still a lot of activity going on there, and I don't know why. But you can see this stuff is there aren't any active court cases. Now, if it is classified, you're not going to see it on here. I guarantee it. So, so just kind of keep that in mind. Take all this with a pinch of salt, data point. But there is that. All right. Now, I do want to point out also, I read 3 days ago that Flashbang had actually recalled all of the ships out of the Black Sea, and that they were basically vacating after the Soviet Union told, after not Soviet Union, Russia had actually told him to get his stuff out of there. Okay, that it was not kosher for him to be there. He had no business there or whatever. And then I saw the ships leave, and that was actually one of these big military times or something, right? And so I read that report, but it looks like he is now that's a British ship right here that you see in this picture. See that little on-ramp that launches? The Brits use that a lot for their aircraft. So when they launch, it kind of kicks it up a little higher. And it's kind of an interesting thing, but that's going to be a British ship right there. All right. But according to this, that the UK are the only ones that are actually sending people back into this area. So they are actually setting sail to the Black Sea. And so it's good to see somebody with the cojones, the huevos to go do this kind of stuff. So the US is punching out and bailing, and the UK looks to be going inbound. So just a data point, but very interesting that we have somebody at least out there supporting the Ukraine, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the US. So, all right. But I want to point that out. Now, it says it's to set sail for the Black Sea in May, that's a little ways off. So they could be really, really deep into a battle at come May. All right. That's a couple weeks away. So, all right, let's get back over to our crime scene here. We're going to look at our map and see what we got going on here. Just kind of break it out. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to go over first before we go back to the U.S., get over here to Europe, because as things are starting to sunset, this place is getting pretty hot. All right. Now, I do have persistence on because I wanted to show you all the activity because it's been, almost an hour since the last time we were over there. But just pointing out, you're going to notice we've got the French sending things in. It looks like that's going into Jordan. And that was an A400, which just disappeared on me. And we'll see C-130, that's Canada. Notice where they're heading into. They seem to be heading into this general area, which is, I don't know. I just don't trust anybody heading to the Middle East right now. It's no telling what they're up to. But this is UK, got a C-130. Looks like that one is actually taking off. Looks like it's coming out of Cyprus. Pretty low level. So the orange indicates the altitude. So it's below 2,000 feet. And so looks like it's descending 225 feet. So maybe landing. All right. All right. So that's the Canadians. And that is going to be, that's Turkey. That's a 737. And I'm not sure what that bird is doing other than just a big loop. So let me get back over here, though, to Middle East, because this is where I want to kind of delve in. Notice here in this general area, all of the aircraft. So that's a tanker. Looks like we got a lot of tankers. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 air refuelers up. That's a British A400, which is a cargo bird. Got a C5 that's up. That is a US C5. That's a heavy lifter. That thing is like an Antonov. I mean, it carries a lot of cargo and a lot of stuff. So no telling, but there is seems to be a lot of activity going on here right now over in the Kuwait area. And then if we get in here to the UAE and Dubai, again, air refueler, that's going to be a Reach C-17 that's bugging out. And then we've got some C-130s, another air refueler. So when you're seeing these air refuelers up over here, that means we got a lot of fighter activity going on. So seem to be pretty elevated in terms of fighters. That's going to be a UK A400. That's a high wing. That's their equivalent of our C-130. Okay, and looks to be landing. And so, all right. So again, that's a lot of activity. We don't really see that very often. So there seems to be things on the move. I don't know if they're pre-positioning for support over in here with the Ukraine. That's still a long way away. You don't see anything going on over here in Afghanistan. So, okay. So let me kind of bust out. Let me go over here to the U.S. again. Here's the U.K. Hey, one thing I do want, if we've got any Canadian followers in here, I do want to hear from you. I'm seeing some reports that UK's on lockdown. I'm seeing a lot of videos, and I can't confirm if they're old, if it's new, if it's, you know, it's kind of like the ones that surfaced about Air Force One and Trump in Atlanta, right? It just it was old 2018 footage, so you just never know, and there's so much disinfo going on out there. So if you guys are truly on lockdown, shoot me a note, shoot me a message. Let me know what's going on. I'm just curious if there's any reality to what we're being told, and or if it's just somebody trying to create panic. And so pretty active. These are a lot of trainers in here. These little EC-45s, things like that. This is all pretty active area. UK, also very active. These blue boxes are air refueling boxes. And so you can see, looks like there's doing some stuff in here, but doesn't mean they're air refueling, just they're flying in that general area. So their altitude is well below where the normal air refueling would be on a helo, okay? And so the orange, again, the orange icons indicate altitude. And so, for example, if I click on this little EH-10, it is down at 250 feet. So he's pretty low level, pretty low altitude. You guys can see, if I look at, just show you what that helicopter looks like, very similar to our Sea Stallions, like our H-53s, okay? Very similar. And so that's a workhorse right there. All right. Back over here to this general area. Got some Chinooks up. These right here are going to be your gunships. Those are Apache gun ships. When you see that little different type of icon right here, so that's a little Apache gunship, and it looks like we got a 2-ship over here that I was just looking at in this general area. So there's 2 of them kind of clicking together. That's a runway right here, so it looks like they are kind of following that trajectory. So now this, so you guys can see, that's your Apache gunship. This camera on the front is tied into this dude's headset. All right. Now, again, I'm not sure who's riding where on this one. And so that could be pilot here, gunner here. I'm not really 100%. And so if there's got some of your Apache pilots out there, or former Apache pilots, can probably tell us pretty quickly. But this is a phenomenal helo, But this whole thing right here, it's got what they call EOTs, I think is it's like a tracker, like a weapon, like a targeting system. And so and then it's got FLIR, so it's got night vision cameras and all kinds of different stuff in there. So that little pod on the front is pretty impressive to begin with. So a lot of capabilities. Okay, so that is going to be your little intel on your Apaches. And so, man, I can't believe we are coming up on an hour, and I still have a live stream. I haven't been knocked offline yet, so don't even know what to say. Kind of shocker. So, again, this is all trainers right here in this area, and these are going to be trainers too. These little Hawks. So it looks like the UK is doing a lot of flight training, similar to the US. So, all right, let me get over here to CONUS, and we'll kind of start looking up here in the Canadian region. Looks like we just got some C-130s that are out and about. That one seems to have been I don't know where it took off, out of Vancouver, maybe. Headed northeast. Another Chinook here. Let me see here. Another C-130, and then a little Dash 8. So that's going to be your Canadian stuff. But let me get in. Let me go over here to my board here just to see. Looks like we got 2 B-52s up right now. Those are going to be out of Shreveport, Bossier City area. Barksdale Air Force Base. Look like they have taken off and are now doing some, I don't know what they're doing out here, just circling around off of up here in the Panhandle area. Altitude's 35,000 feet and descending, but not really sure what they're doing there. But these are all trainers. This is just a sea of trainers. These little things here, I call them Tweety birds, but they're just a little single engine, two-seater. So you get a pilot and a student in one. Looks like they've got some good flying conditions and are out flying around. Most of these helos in here are also trainers. Okay. All right, let me go over here back to my board. Now, let's dig in here. What do we have? Got a C-17, another C-7. So we got a 3-ship and a tanker. Now, that could also be, that could be doing air refueling, could be doing cargo, just depends. But those all look to be headed into, there's Odessa, Midland. No telling. Let's see if they get in over here in El Paso or if they're going into like the Abilene kind of area. Altitude is at 25,000 feet. But those are heavy movers. That could be a lot of different things. Could be supplies, troops, equipment. Could be anything. So again, don't see the 4-ship or 3-ship very often for those. Okay. Out here. Now, I didn't see any current red flags going on, although there may be out here at Nellis or anything going on in Yuma. But all this helo activity kind of happening here, not totally uncommon. That's going to be, it's H-60, another H-60. Looks like we got quite a few H-60s up. AS-65, that's a little Dolphin. That's going to be probably like Coast Guard kind of thing. C-17 on ground, that is going to be a trainer. It's that little, what they call T-34T. That's a beach mentor, I think is what they call that. So that's like our little trainers that you just looked at on the other coast. And so it's probably a little Navy trainer. So let me see here as I get kind of northbound. Let's get up here to the Washington, Portland general area per the request of some of our monkeys. And so it looks like we've got a little P3 that took off. C-17 on ground, another C-17 that is airborne, and that one looks to be headed eastbound. And then these are going to be fighters. And so I don't know what they are coming out of that general area. They're probably F-18s, if I had to guess. And then that's another P3 that looks to be headed south out of the same area. So these two look like they're probably following each other. And not seeing, let me kind of delve in here, Sacramento, San Francisco area. Another Coast Guard, looks like Coast Guard's in the bay there, San Francisco area. And these are little trainers. So little T-38 trainers. And then let's see here. Yeah, everything looks like it's just kind of normal out here by Beale. All right. Let me kick out over here over to little Hawaii, little island check. Not seeing anything going on there right now. Keep in mind, it's still pretty early in the morning, and same thing out here over the Asian Pacific side. Not seeing anything. So, all right, folks, that looks to be it. I think we've kind of hit all the wickets. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me, and I'm going to do our quick send off, and then I'll hang here for a few minutes in the chat so we can talk to you monkeys. And so that's it. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear at monkeywerxus.com.